Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Tuesday, May 8th, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, Prime Minister Christie sworn into office this afternoon. The way forward for the Free National Movement and the Democratic National Alliance. And independent analysis of the general election. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Joining us. It's official. POP leader Christie is once again Prime Minister of the Bahamas after taking his oath of office at Government House this afternoon. While there, he also revealed what his first duties as Prime Minister will be and spoke to accusations made against him during the election campaign. Nikia DeVoe reports.
Shortly after being sworn in at Government House this afternoon, Mr. Christie told reporters that the first of his ministerial appointments will be announced tomorrow and that his cabinet will be fully assembled by Friday. He also spoke to former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram's sudden resignation from frontline politics.
And that in all things, I will be a true and faithful Prime Minister.
And after those words, Christie became the new leader of the nation. He addressed the country, thanking supporters and inviting those who didn't support him to join him in his efforts to make a better Bahamas. His main focus? To create jobs for young Bahamians and reduce the unemployment rate. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause as he made his way to the reception area to greet family, friends, and the newest members of Parliament-elect. And after many congratulations and well wishes, the Prime Minister headed to the patio to talk to us about the way forward for his administration.
I have an obligation to ensure that we can have an effective government. So it means that I must put my mind to selecting the cabinet. The first thing I had to do was to make a decision with respect to who would be the secretary to the cabinet. And I invited the former cabinet secretary, Mr. Wendell Major, to come back to that position, to meet with Mrs. Bernard, and to assume that position, and he has. So the position of cabinet secretary is now filled, and I shall begin the process of naming ministers to the cabinet tomorrow. I can tell you that I propose to assume the portfolio of the Ministry of Finance myself. That will be the first appointment. So as Prime Minister, the cabinet allocation would be that I become the Minister of Finance, and as you can anticipate, that I would have an outstanding personality who will be the Minister of State for Finance.
But Mr. Christie wouldn't reveal which other appointments would be announced tomorrow. When asked how he felt about the former Prime Minister's sudden exit from the Free National Movement and politics, Christie said he wasn't surprised.
Well, I tried very hard to beat him. I was hoping that I would have defeated him in the North Abaco constituency. I'm not surprised that he would have made a decision not to come back to Parliament, because it'll be difficult for him to sit on that side and look at me on the other side, given some of the things he said about me.
And during his first few moments as Prime Minister, Christie aimed to clear up the controversy surrounding his connection to the Bahamas Petroleum Company. He claimed that Mr. Ingram was making a mountain out of a molehill.
Part of the process of decision-making was to advise Mr. Davis, right, that company would never get the attention of the government. And really, I was very much involved in moving them away from my consultancy, and that is how they got to new firms of Higgs & Johnson and Graham Thompson. I didn't say that during the campaign, but really, in effect, I just happened to be a consultant on matters of hotels, and as it turned up, this was one of the clients, and the advice I gave them resulted in Mr. Davis only being the corporate office, but the work was actually being done by Higgs & Johnson. I have no relationship with Higgs & Johnson. I have no relationship legally with Graham Thompson.
The new Prime Minister said that he will soon review the work of the former government to decide if any projects will be cancelled or if any contracts will be reversed. Reporting for NB12, I'm Nikia DeVoe.
And as the country returns to normal after yesterday's elections, the Free National Movement is now left to rebuild from the ground up to find new leadership, a new candidate for North Abaco, and a new direction for the party. Paige McCartney has more.
As the country starts to return to normal just a little after yesterday's election, the Free National Movement is now left to rebuild from the ground up, to find new leadership, to find a new candidate for North Abaco, and to also find new direction for the party. But already the party has released a statement regarding the transition of leadership in the FNM. This after former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram made this announcement last night during the FNM's concession speech.
I shall resign as leader of the party. I shall also not take my seat in the House of Assembly. I shall resign as a member of the House of Assembly. I shall return to private life from whence I came. I wish to express my gratitude and appreciation to the Bahamian people for giving me the opportunity to have served them as Prime Minister for nearly 15 years. I now leave you and say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Good night.
MB12 contacted Mr. Ingram for further comment today. However, he declined and said he was done with that. The statement from FNM National Chairman Carl Bethel said a new leader of the opposition will be chosen through an orderly process within the party's constitution and as required under the country's constitution. However, the statement read that Hubert Ingram will remain FNM leader until the process of finding a new leader is complete. That process involves Ingram's consultation with the opposition's MPs-elect and relevant party committees. Currently, familiar FNM MPs-elect that may possibly vie for leadership include Long Island's Loretta Butler Turner, Killarney's Dr. Hubert Minnis, South Abaco's Edison Key, Central Grand Bahama's Nico Grant, and newcomers Hubert Chipman from St. Anne's, Peter Turnquest of East Grand Bahama, Theo Neely for North Eleuthera, and Richard Lightbourne for Montague. After last night's dismal loss, just a handful of FNM candidates appeared briefly at the party's headquarters on Mackey Street. Dr. Dwayne Sands, who lost the Elizabeth seat to the PLP's Ryan Pinder, and Heather Hunt, who lost Marathon to Jerome Fitzgerald, said they were, of course, shocked and disappointed by the fate of the FNM.
It's all too early. Most of us have just had to deal with the disappointment of the returns. And to say that we were surprised is an understatement. I think it is, when you have such a phenomenal team as I have had, who have worked so hard, ethically, honestly, capably, to get out to the community, it's disappointing. And yet, just as we did in 2010, we have to accept the preference of the electorate. You can become easily somewhat cynical or somewhat bitter, but I don't. I acknowledge what is, and we push on.
It's difficult to understand exactly what took place today, but clearly the people of the Bahamas have spoken and they've made their decision. As a first-time candidate, I've had the experience of a lifetime. I don't expect to go anywhere. I'm the youngest candidate on this ticket, and so I've been in the FNM for many years in different capacities, and I'll remain there.
The FNM's candidate for North Andros and the Barry Islands, Desmond Bannister, told our news team today that he believed money, or the lack thereof, was the reason he lost his seat yesterday. He claimed until the night before the election, people were buying votes for the PLP. At least one FNM supporter spoke with our news team last night. Cecile Brown had a rosy point of view.
Disappointing news tonight, but you seem very optimistic.
Oh, we're down, but we're not out. And we're citizens of the Bahamas. This is our country. FNM, that's the name, that's a party. But we are Bahamians, and so we have to continue. Yes, and we'll be watching the PLP very close.
Reporting for MB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
Well, it seems Mr. Ingram isn't the only prominent figure who has decided to retire following yesterday's election. Following 17 years of service, Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel revealed that he is retiring this year. Fanique Toot spoke with him exclusively about his future plans.
After heading the Parliamentary Registration Department for nearly 2 decades, Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel is just about ready to hang up his hat. He told NB12 today that he plans to step down before the end of this year.
I'm definitely finished. This is it. By the end of this year, I'll be gone.
By the end of this year? And how do you feel? How long have you been Parliamentary Commissioner?
17 years. It's a long, long stint. I've served in education for over 30 years. I've been Parliamentary Commissioner for 17 years. I've served in the Ministry of Education headquarters, and I've also served in the Passport Office for a period of time. So this is it for me.
Bethel says he thought the May 7th general election would be it for him. However, now that former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham has announced that he will not take his seat as a Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Bethel may have to oversee a by-election. After that, he says it will definitely be time for him to go. The Parliamentary Registration Department received scathing criticisms from election court justices who pointed out egregious failures in the electoral process in the lead-up to the 2007 general election, as well as failures associated with the 2010 Elizabeth by-election. Bethel says during his 17 years as Parliamentary Commissioner, he did the best he could.
The Parliamentary Registration Department has always done an excellent job. Has always done an excellent job. And I don't know if anybody can honestly say that we never did. We've always done an excellent job. I worked hard at my job, and I'm with my head held up high, full of integrity. And I have nothing to be ashamed of. I did the best I could.
As he prepares to move on, the Parliamentary Commissioner also commented on the Organization of American States' calls for an independent boundaries commission. He says Bahamians had an opportunity to make that 10 years ago, but rejected it.
This question about the Parliamentary Commission on independence of the independent boundaries, that sort of thing, this came up in the referendum in 2002. And at that time, the Bahamian people rejected it. So you're talking about an amendment to the Constitution to effect some things, and the Bahamian people will have to be prepared to go along with whatever is maybe passed by Parliament.
We asked Mr. Bethel what he plans to do after he retires. He says he'll take a break, then think about his future. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonik Toot.